Welcome back. This is a conversation that is needed but not very common. An honest, no holds barred discussion about what it's like to be a Black man. 5 years sat down with this. And now we talk about the system. We've been working through these facades that things have gotten better. And their concern about the nation was really revealed when I asked about how far Black people have progressed and if they thought things would be better in 15 years.
You think about common humanity. I think it's very dangerous. I think the next 3 weeks can be very dangerous.
Our interview took place before the mob broke into the Capitol building. We now know that group included extremists and white supremacists. These men believe people with intentional hate for Black people have always been allowed too much opportunity.
I'm just talking about even just you seeing the bigotry and all of that stuff. Like, it's on the rise. Like, people have no discretion about it now, as far as how they really feel about what's going on. They're very empowered right now, and that's scary. Just because of, like I said, I grew up in rural North Carolina, so I've seen the Klan actually march. I mean, we talk about in Salisbury, 2-3 years ago, you had the Klan march down Main Street. So, I mean, like,
they were in Concord 3 weeks ago.
Right. So, like, I mean, we're not, like, so imagine they're empowered and feel like they can do whatever. It's terrifying.
But I never really had this fantasy world where things were just going to be so wonderful. Because, I mean, when I looked at the history, that even as we progressed, there was always this lag in the eyes of the general population of whites and Caucasians and so forth.
He believes that there are political, economic, judicial, and other systems in place to make sure that lag is always there for Black men.
Something he just said, I thought about a meme that I saw on social media. It says that the system is not broken, it was built this way.
Right.
People still have that hatred in their heart. We just need to talk, let them know, like, why do you feel that way about me? Why do you feel like I'm finna rob your car or break into it? Why do you feel that way? And just communicate.
I think the white supremacists feel very comfortable.
Harris even said he had to have difficult conversations with his son, the kind you'd expect to hear in the 1960s.
I'm talking to my 15-year-old son about the fact that you need to be very careful because there are people that don't value your life, son.
These men don't think the problem is with those who hate them. Their real fear is that there are not enough people who love them willing to stand up to the hate too.
People lack love. People lack empathy. And I think the problem that I realize is people just aren't anti-racist. Some people say they aren't racist, but they're definitely not anti-racist. And that's the problem. That's the problem we have. You see a group of people being treated unfairly, and until everyone says that that's not right, we've got to do something about that. We're going to be here 100 years from now.
When I have conversations with my white colleagues or, even my white classmates, I'm like, yo, you got to have these conversations with people that I don't have access to. That's when the real change is going to happen. It's cool for me and you to have this dialogue. Oh, you cool with Sean and this, that, and the third. All right, cool. Yeah. But what are you going to do after I'm outside of your presence? What are you going to do to step up for me when your family members are saying, derogatory stuff about somebody that looks like me? What are you going to do? And I think that's where we have that change.
Especially with the way that, technology has advanced and like everybody has the access to all this information, to all these statistics, to all these videos, to see it personally happening. And, everyone, we're all so connected that like, anyone can hear these stories. Anyone can come up and have this conversation with me, any of my friends, and yet they can still carry these mindsets about it. So I think that's why there's this level of like, I'm not going to say no hope, but just, maybe a distrust in how quickly things will progress.
Kyle hopes the recent racial reckoning after the killing of George Floyd and the public push for racial equality has emboldened those fighting for change too.
I think for a lot of people, it's hard to get away from it. That's making a lot of people really uncomfortable, the fact that they can't avoid it. It's like, oh, we just want our sports. We just want our entertainment. We just want our art. Why does it have to be so divisive? I'm like, no, it's not divisive if you take the time to understand what it truly is, right? And so I think it's going to come to a place where it's like, you know, like I said, everyone's going to get exposed to what they are. Everything comes to light eventually. And you're going to have to come to a place where you're going to have to make a decision where you stand with it. There's not going to be this as much hiding as there was before. Because I think systems are getting, you know, these systems that we talk about are slowly getting broken down to where we can see them. And it's like, all right, so there's not really in between, you know, because if you're either racist or you're not.
I think there's enough emphasis that's been placed on the injustices done to the black man that there must be some repentance. And I always say until white men get angry enough to do something, we won't see a change.
At this point, I'm ready to die. The youngest member of this group found purpose from a stranger. And in the midst of chaos,
That's not something that has happened overnight.
a turning point in a moment of turmoil. That's next.